Good evening. I'd like to call to order the regular meeting of the Cordova Recreation and Park District on this Wednesday, June 19, 2019 at 6:30 PM. All right. Ready to do the pledge?
Thank you, Chair Yearwood. I'd like to welcome to the podium Jim Morales to lead us in the pledge. He is our new Park Services Superintendent.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, and justice for all.
Thank you, Jim. All right, we'll move on to roll call.
Director Reyes,
Here.
Director Lineback,
Here.
Secretary Sloan, Vice Chair Danzel,
Here.
and Chair Yearwood.
Here. All right, board disclosures on any action items. Does anybody have anything they wish to disclose this evening? All right, seeing none, we'll move on to item B, comments by the public on non-agenda items.
Thank you, Chair Yearwood. Members of the public may address the board on district topics not listed on this agenda. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes. It is a violation of state law for the board to discuss or take action on non-agenda items. Board members may only briefly ask clarifying questions or refer the matter to staff. At this time, I do have 2 speaker cards. I'd like to welcome to the podium first Maya Biggs, please.
Thank you. Thank you for letting me address this board. So my name is Maya Biggs. I'm recruiting assistant for U.S. Census Bureau. I would like to make public aware that we are recruiting and also public aware that they need to go and fill out the questionnaires next year. The census day is April 1st, 2020. But we already started working last year. We are recruiting everywhere, but Sacramento County residents are paid $20 to $22 an hour. There is a paid training, paid travel time to and from the training, and also to and from the assignment. They are also paid 58 cents a mile if they're using their own car. They don't have to have a car. They can use public transportation. They will get reimbursed for that. All these jobs are very flexible, so they are a great addition to any other job that people might have. And I think that public is not aware of these jobs because they become available only once every 10 years. So they're very flexible. They're a great addition. Everything is done online for the first time. Everybody should go to 2020census.gov/jobs. There is an orange button, apply now, and from there you use your email address, personal email address, and you create a census profile. It's very easy. There are 36 questions that everybody needs to answer. They're common sense questions. Also 9 supervisory questions that everybody can answer as well, and they're the same type of questions. All correspondence is done through email. Nobody's going to call them until it's time for them to start working. Training takes anywhere between 3 and 5 days immediately before they start working. So it's not going to be a long time between work and training. These jobs are very flexible, so they can work anytime that they decide that they want to work. And also, I wanted to say that I lost my thread of thoughts. I also want to say that it's very important that everybody answers their questionnaires because based on the public going out and having accurate count, that's how much money every region is going to get. So if Rancho Cordova is undercounted per person, it takes 2,000 times 10 years. You can do a count. It's very important that everybody returns the questionnaire. And if Danielle has my email address and my phone number, if anybody wants me to come and talk more about this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Next, I'd like to call to the podium Anna Vanderveen, please.
Thank you. This meeting's hard to find. It wasn't on your calendar. Anyway, the reason I'm speaking to you today is I live near Taylor Park, which is a small park off of West La Loma. And unfortunately, there's a lot of problems for such a little park. I mean, we see a lot of drug use, sex, just a lot of bad behavior. We call the police. By the time they come, the people have moved on. There's a lot of trash that's generated by the park. In fact, last week I had to call because the trash cans were overflowing and hadn't been picked up for days. But anyway, as the 4th of July approaches, the park becomes a huge problem, and that's because it's ground zero to a lot of miscreants that seem to come shoot off M80s and aerial fireworks from the park. And a couple years ago, I witnessed an absolute miracle. The sprinklers came on, and I had called the police, and of course, around 10 o'clock, you can't get through to anyone on the 4th of July. And the sprinklers came on, all the miscreants cleared out. So last year, I tried to have the sprinklers come on, and I was assured that the sprinklers would come on. Unfortunately, they did not, despite even the POP officer calling you guys to get the sprinklers to come on. And we were treated to a near professional quality aerial fireworks show from that park, tons of M80s, and it sounded like even bigger ones trying to blow up the play structure and stuff like that. They started a fire underneath one of the trees in the trash can, and the trash can was loaded with paper plates. Almost caught the tree on fire. We couldn't get through to the fire department. We had to form a bucket brigade to put the fire out. All because you guys couldn't get the sprinklers to turn on. So this year, my request is that you guys program the sprinklers so that they come on maybe 10 o'clock and come on intermittently till maybe midnight, maybe the 3rd, 4th, and 5th, or if you can spread it out even a little more, because these people don't just respect the 4th of July. They seem to start early and end late. And that would save us a lot of aggravation. When you can't get through to the police, you can't get through to the fire department, it would be really nice. This is such a simple solution to a huge problem that we have with the parks. If you guys could please have the sprinklers come on. It's kind of a passive-aggressive approach, but it really works. And then we don't have to call the police. We don't have to call the fire department. So if they could just program them, just for that short period of time, it would solve us a lot of problems. And, again, I would really wish that some of the trash and drug use could also be addressed, but right now I'd really just like to see the 4th of July addressed. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Jill, I think did we discuss this before, or something about this, taking care of these kind of situations?
Yes, we received an email from the city of Rancho Cordova today talking about this same issue, how there are several parks that if we could help out with maybe putting on the sprinklers, might help deter some of the, the fireworks. They're also going to be putting signs out at their cost at some of our parks to also just, inform the public that fireworks are illegal. But we've worked with Jim Morales, our new park services superintendent, and he has agreed to put on those sprinklers. We're just going to work with the times and the dates to see how often we can do it so we can help. Absolutely.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. All right, let's move on to item C, the consent calendar.
Thank you. Consent calendar items are considered administratively routine and will be acted upon in one motion unless separate action on a specific item is necessary. The chairperson will consider any request for discussion on the items prior to approval of the consent calendar. And this evening, we have 8 items for your consideration. Item C1 is to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of the Board of Directors on May 15th, 2019. Item C2 is the district financial report for May 2019. Item C3 is the quarterly claims report, January through March 2019. Item C4 is to adopt Resolution 18/19-45, declaring the intention to levy assessments for fiscal year 2019-20, preliminarily approving engineer's report and providing for notice of public hearing for the Independence at Mather Landscaping and Lighting District. Item C5 is to adopt Resolution 18/19-46, declaring the intention to levy assessments for fiscal year 2019-20, preliminarily approving engineer's report, and providing for notice of public hearing for the Park Maintenance and Recreation Improvement District. Item C6 is to authorize the general manager to execute a no-fee special use permit with the Rosemont Community Association for the use of Rosemont Community Park for the annual Celebration of Community event on Saturday, September 21st, 2019. Item C7 is to adopt Resolution 18/19-47 and authorize the general manager to execute the grant of easement to the Sacramento Municipal Utility District for underground utilities at Hagan Community Park. And a note on that item, a clear color copy of the map for that easement has been placed at the dais per a board request. Item C8 is to approve the release of a request for proposals for the restaurant concessionaire services at the Cordova Golf Course.
Whew. All right, you can breathe again. All right, so any questions or comments about any of these consent items from the public, staff, board? All right. All right, seeing none, anybody care to make a motion?
Sure, you're what I'd,
Easy for you to say.
exactly. I move that we approve the consent calendar as read by the clerk, items C1 through C8.
Second.
All right, a motion by Vice Chair Danzel, seconded by Director Reyes. Roll call vote.
Director Reyes?
Aye.
Director Lineback?
Aye.
Secretary Sloan?
Aye.
Vice Chair Danzel?
Aye.
And Chair Yearwood?
Aye. All right, so it looks like, Dee, we're gonna move on to presentations.
Thank you. Item D1 is a presentation of a grant award from USA Softball of Sacramento. And I'd like to welcome to the podium Recreation Supervisor Nina Seiner.
Hi, good evening. Yes, so Nina Steiner here, and I have the pleasure to introduce Jeff Dubchansky with USA Softball of Sacramento. We have a great relationship with USA Softball. We've had the pleasure to receive this grant a couple times, and we look forward to continued great relationships. So Jeff's gonna speak on the grant a little bit.
Great, thank you. Good evening, board members. It's my pleasure to be here tonight. This is one of the more enjoyable things that I get to do as the commissioner for USA Softball. I'm a volunteer with the association. It's my 22nd year as the commissioner. And we represent about 10,000 kids that play softball and about 2,000 adults that play. And our association, we're called USA Softball Sacramento, but our association goes all the way from Dixon on the west to South Lake Tahoe on the east, and from Lincoln on the north to Lodi on the south. So it's one of the most popular associations in the country and very successful. And that's why I'm able to do something like this tonight. In the 22 years that I've been the commissioner, we've been able to award over $120,000 to our public agency partners. And that's why it's a great thing, because nobody ever tells Santa Claus he has bad breath. So tonight, I'm here to present with you a grant that your staff applied for to make improvements to the ball fields at Mather. Mather is a host for many of our adult programs during the week, and we work with our adult partners to provide improvements, whatever they can come up with. We've never said no to a grant proposal. So it's the world's easiest grant proposal, and it does improvements to your ballpark in Mather, including some dugout racks. I think 2 years ago I was here, you did some fans and other things inside the dugout, and I can't remember what the one before that was. So with that, I'm here to make a presentation of $1,600 to you, and we can do the old picture check. I got the old golf check, and so we can take a photo for your magazine, if anybody wants to come up, or somebody come up. And then, but see, you can't take this one to the bank, so I get to give you a real one.
That's cool. I'll take the real one.
Who gets the real one? You get the real one.
Thank you so much.
You bet.
Look it on this side, so you're not alone. Good smile now.
much. Thank you. You bet. See you. All right, take care of your stranger.
Another one.
All right, how about item D2?
Thank you, Chair Yearwood. Item D2 is a presentation of certificate of recognition to Jim Marta for 38 years of service at the Cordova Golf Course. And I'll turn it over to Director of Parks and Recreation, Jill Nuns.
Good evening. Unfortunately, Jim Marta couldn't be here this evening, but we wanted to make sure we recognized him for his 38 years of service out at the golf course. So we do have this certificate of recognition. Andrea White is going to deliver it to Jim Marta. I'm on vacation next week, so she's going to go ahead and do that. But I'll read off the certificate. It says that the certificate of recognition awarded to James Marta with sincere appreciation for 38 years of dedicated service, providing golf course management services at the Cordova Golf Course. So Jim's about to retire. June 30th is his last day at the golf course, but we'll be sure to give him that certificate and thank him for all of his years of service. So thank you.
Good.
All right, moving on. How about D3?
Item D3 is a presentation of certificate of recognition to Marilyn Ham for 4 years of service on the PMRAD Oversight Committee. If I could have Marilyn join me at the podium, please.
Go, Marilyn.
Board members, it's my honor to introduce Marilyn. Well, we all know her and we all love her, of course. But I was introduced to her in 2015 when she was appointed to the PMRAD Oversight Committee. And I have just loved working with her and getting to know her. She is so wonderful and so witty and great input at all of our meetings. And so I'm just really thankful to know you and really want to thank you for everything you've done on the committee. So it reads, with sincere appreciation for 4 years of service and commitment to the Park Maintenance and Recreation Improvement District Oversight Committee.
All right. All right.
Would the board like to take a photo with Marilyn?
Behind you.
What'd you say?
For everything. Marilyn, thank you. Good to see you.
You're the star there. Come on over, right in the middle there. Yeah.
Everybody right here, 1, 2, 3. And 1, 2, 3.
Thank you. All right. Last but not least, D4.
We have a lot of celebrating this evening.
Yes.
Item D4 is introduction to new Park Services Superintendent and Facilities Maintenance Supervisor. And I'll turn it back over to Director Nuns.
Good evening again. I am pleased to announce our new Park Services Superintendent, Jim Morales.
All right. Welcome, Jim. Good job.
So exciting. So Jim will be overseeing, obviously, the Parks Department as well as our newly formed Facilities Department, and he's going to announce the new Facilities Supervisor here in a couple of minutes. But I am going to read a little bit about Jim because we should really understand his background and why he deserves this position and why he's going to just be amazing as our new Park Services Superintendent. So he's worked for the district for the last 5 years as the role as Park Services Supervisor 2. He came to the district with over 25 years of turf and landscape maintenance experience. He has extensive knowledge and experience in community engagement, staff development and training, turf grass science, pest management, water and irrigation technology. Obviously, he's done a lot of capital improvement projects, and he's worked on a lot of budgets as well. And he did an excellent job with the budget this year, stepping in for the first time. So we appreciate that. Prior to coming to the district, Jim was in the golf course industry, and he was a golf course superintendent for many golf courses. I won't read them all. He can tell you about them if he wants to, but he was in the golf course. So, of course, I'm going to obviously ask him some questions about the golf course, and he knows that, and he's already been helping me out, and I appreciate that. So we are excited for Jim. We're excited to see where he goes, and he's going to flourish in this position. I just can't say enough about Jim and how he leads his staff and the Parks Department, and we have amazing things coming up, and this is the guy who's going to lead us. So I'll give you Jim, so go ahead.
Thank you. What can I say after that? But thank you. Thank you so much. Being with the district now for 5 years, it's just been amazing. All I can say is, we'll continue working on keeping our parks safe and clean for the community and just working on the partnerships that we've developed and just keep moving forward. The growth that's coming, just wow. I'm excited about it. And doing some of this retrofitting on some of the older courses, I'm also excited about that. So again, I'm just really excited about where we're headed and what we've done. So thank you.
Congratulations again. Wonderful.
So good evening, Chair Yearwood and the Board of Directors. I'm here this evening to introduce Gary Atchison as our new facilities supervisor. Gary is a Sacramento native. He has worked in a family-owned construction business and continued his career throughout the years in construction and property management, doing remodeling, estimating, you name it. I think in the construction business, Gary's done it. He's also was a maintenance director at Lacuna Creek Racquet Club for a few years. And I'd say over the last few years, Gary's worked as a part-time employee for us, off and on. And it just shows he enjoyed working here. And when we ran a position for the PM1, Gary came in and just blew us away. And we offered him that position about a little over 2 years ago. And Gary's been with us a little over 2 years. He has done nothing but excel in that position. During this last 2.5 years, Gary is has been able. He passed a certified playground safety inspector course, which is very hard, and so Gary is our certified playground inspector. So all the playground repairs and things like that you see out there, and the inspections and the reporting of things, this is the guy currently taking care of that. So very honored to have that in our back pocket amongst our staff. He's also aquatic facility operator, so another avenue that if we need it, we have it. Gary's just brought to the district a ton of expertise in facility maintenance so far, and he was there for an interim for a few months, and we can just see the difference. So we're really excited about having Gary on our staff and just where we're going to go and how we're going to move with it. So again, I just want to introduce Gary Ash as our new facility supervisor, and Gary, congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay.
I want to say what an honor and a privilege it is to work for the district. I did leave for a minute because I needed a little more than the part-time that I was able to do at the time, but I came back because I like the people that I work with. Everybody that's in this room and many others that are here that aren't here, rather, but are represented by all of us. I work well with everybody. I have good relationships with everybody and building great relationships with the management team in the district office. And we're going to do great things for the district. One of the things I really like doing is providing customer service. Wonderful. I'd like to be the guy when they call that it's done before they get off the phone.
Wonderful.
And that may be a little exaggerated, but it's basically the
Yeah,
truth.
Wonderful, yeah.
It's
Can be
happened.
done.
But I really do enjoy my job. I enjoy working for the people of Rancho Cordova, and I'm going to do nothing but my most best to provide the most excellent customer service that we can do. I really enjoy, Jim's always been a captain for me. He's always been a positive influence and a supporter, and he's helped me kind of get here. I've learned a lot since I started. Looking forward to the challenges. They're coming on now, so I'm really looking forward to actually spending the rest of my career here.
Wonderful.
But thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Congratulations to the both of you. All right, so item E, committee reports. There's none that I can forget and skip over this time, but so we'll move on to F, public hearings.
Thank you, Chair Yearwood. Item F1 is to adopt Resolution 18/19-48, approving the preliminary budget for the Cordova Recreation and Park District for fiscal year 2019-20, and authorize the general manager to file with the county auditor controller. And I'll turn it over after we start the public hearing to Finance Manager Matt Goodell.
All right, we'll open the public hearing at 6:56.
Okay, so you could probably tell there's a reason why I mentioned Gary Atchison and Jim Rouse's name a couple times during our work session today with the budget. They care, they brought the list, the justification, and they really want to do a lot of good things for the district. So I'm very excited to have them on board. All right, so good evening, Chair Yearwood and Vice Chair Danzel and board members. I'm going to do the full presentation again since those weren't present earlier. I'm just kidding, I'm not going to do that.
I'm like,
We spent a good hour prior to this talking about these things, and so I'll summarize that and we'll go through it real fast. But the purpose of the preliminary budget is to allow the district to continue with operations and paying bills and our employees until the final budget is adopted in August. So that's the key component of it. For now, I'll give you a summary of what took place here earlier tonight. During the budget work session, we reviewed the goals and the priorities for forming the budget vision. And so we had 11 that we established, talked about deferred maintenance, which again, Jim Morales and Gary Atchison were key components to building that. Talked about our capital improvement projects and what's going on there. Paying off our debt service, it's one of our goals, of course. District elections, something that we're going to take a look at to see if it makes sense or not, so we'll research that. Education and training, times are good, so this is when staff wants to be empowered and believe in professional development and having that skill set and enhanced. So that's one of our goals. Information technology upgrades, it's a good time to take a look at what's going on with our IT. Investment in the golf course has been clear and transparent these past couple of months, talking about the golf course and that we're going to give it our best shot and fund that best we can and see what we can do out there. We're going to add park services equipment, 2 utility trucks and a mower and a trailer. And then, of course, golf carts and a couple of workman units and a ball range picker up at the golf course. Public relations, again, it's always nice to be an award-winning agency as we are and have people say really nice things about us. And so we're going to continue with that practice and help marketing, again, do what she does best. And reserves, we always talk about that. And so we've built into this budget across all the funds about $231,000 in excess of our revenues over our expenditures that we're going to continue to hold on to so we can keep going with good customer service when times change, when that bubble bursts. So we'll be ready for that. And in staffing, we'll talk about some changes that are recommendations for staffing, especially at the golf course. So those were the goals and priorities established that we talked about earlier in helping building that vision and developing the preliminary budget that is coming up here. Again, we had some highlights that we talked about. The Cordova Community Pool is one of our biggest projects that we have going on. And it's a major focus, this project that we are finishing design and starting the construction phase this year. So it's fantastic. Alongside that, the Hagen Community Park, the pond itself needs to be taken care of, so we're going to dredge that pond and deepen it to help out with the pool specifications. Cavallo Ranch Park, we're going to construct a new restroom out there. And then again, we're going to continue providing attention to the golf course operations, and the course will receive new golf carts. Recreation will receive a new van to help transport kids from the outlying schools to come hang out and learn and the Teen Hideout Center. So that's fantastic. Again, Park Services getting 2 new trucks for the utility fleet. Park Services Irrigation is going to take care of some backflow systems in 9 of our parks. So that's fantastic. Education and training for our staff. We're going to have internal classes take place. So that's great. And we're going to recoat our rubberized surfacing that we have at 3 of our parks where we have that resilient ground cover. And so we're going to keep that fresh and looking good. Again, IT upgrades. We're going to include board members to receive tablets this year to have board packages delivered. I think it was like 169 pages this go around. So that's something that'd be good to go electronically. We talked about Rosemont Community Park and repurposing those tennis courts into what it could be. So we're going to take a look at design and see what the best purpose for that will be. Also, demolish our Fedderspill building. We've had that building there since the 50s, and it's about time for that eyesore of a building to just come down. And so that's on par for this budget. Also, the Williamson property, those 2 parcels, we're taking a look to see what we could do with that. And we've been working hand in hand with the community there and getting a lot of great people coming to those meetings from that neighborhood that have a lot of input. And so I look forward to continue that conversation. Also, Primrose Park, that playground, there's been talk about that, where that neighborhood as well wants a different look for that playground structure and add swings and different things. And so we'll see what we can do for them. And then finally, we're getting some new parks this year. So in 2020, we're looking forward to accepting a couple parks, Labyrinth and Cypress Grove in the Douglas 98 corridor, so in the newer area. So on top of our regular core operations, these were the many major highlights that speak to the spending plan that we have for the upcoming budget. This table provides a breakdown of operations and capital improvement plans that we have for the upcoming year. It's detailed by chart of account if you want to see that schedule in your board package. We have it broken out and how that spending is taking place. But here's a summarized picture of all our 8 funds that we have. We're looking at a $12.5 million in operations and debt service budget. And then we're also looking at a $6.3 million in capital improvement projects. For a total preliminary budget of $18.8 million for all our funds. The resolution is in the board package as well, we're passing tonight, to notify the county of our intentions. And then it also includes the financing requirement forms for the county, and those give descriptions by fund, by object code, exactly what the budget entails, and that also is in your package. We have schedules of expenditures and the loans, the fixed asset changes, the capital improvement plan, all the operating transfers, and the means of financing, which is our revenue and our resources that we have available. So all of those schedules are available in your package. I know we kind of briefed through it at our work session, but if there's anything else that you'd like to talk about or the public wants to comment or question, I'm here available to do so. And that's my report.
Thank you, Mr. Goodell.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
That is pretty awesome. I've never had a clap before after a budget.
I wonder if they're clapping because you're done.
Because it was shorter? Wasn't an hour long? Is that why? Maybe.
All right, I'd like to, is there
So mean.
anyone from the public that would like to make comments on this agenda item? Oh,
Sorry, that eyesore you're talking about out by the boys' baseball field at Cordova is, kind of, a couple years ago, me and another parent a couple years ago, restarted a snack bar for the baseball team, and we're utilizing that building. Last year didn't go through as well because we didn't have as much support. But I myself, being Cordova alumni, that building used to be used for that. So unlike the other.
Can you come up and talk in the mic? Yeah. And we'll just probably. But what park are you talking about exactly?
Yeah, I think you might,
Yeah. What park are you talking about?
The park by Cordova High School where the boys varsity baseball team plays, the building that you showed?
It's a different building.
Is it a different
yeah,
building?
it's Feddersville Park by,
This is Feddersville.
by Rancho Cordova Elementary.
Oh, okay, that's the other building.
The old pool building, yeah. In all fairness, it does look like the snack bar building, it does. That's okay. Hey, that one's safe. Anyone else? Yes, thanks for sparing that one, Matt, good job. Anyone else care to, in the public, make any comments? All right, well, seeing none, we will close public comment at 7:05. All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any questions from the board?
I don't have a question so much as I think it's important to clarify the chart that shows the summary of all funds, and it shows fund balance decrease of 408,000, even though in the earlier narrative it shows an increase in the fund balance of 231,000. So just a brief explanation of the difference between what those two things appear to say.
Yeah, exactly. So in that scenario, what you're stating, Director Lineback, is that it's showing a $400,000 use of our fund balance, or a decrease in our fund balance. And what's happening is that we have 5 projects that we did not finish this year, and they totaled over $600,000. And we're basically rebudgeting, and we're still going to do those projects. It's just the timing, whatever have you. By the time we started them, the payment of those projects aren't going to take place until the following year. And so we have to account for those allocations again. But we're not going to use next year's money. We're going to use this year's fund balance to pay for that. So that's why there's a use of over $600,000. That's there. It's available to use that. And so that's why we have a couple $100,000 positive in actuality for the fund balance next year. But yeah, right. We're using fund balance for the projects for those 5 particular ones. So. Yeah.
But they're really funds that were
Already
accounted for
accounted
this
for.
year.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
Yeah.
All right, any other questions from the board? All right, anybody care to make a motion?
I'll call for the motion, adopt Resolution 18/19-48, approving the preliminary budget for the Cordova Recreation and Park District for fiscal year 2019/20, and authorize the general manager to file with the county auditor controller.
Thank you, motion by Director Reyes.
Second.
Second by Director Lineback, roll call vote.
Director Reyes?
Aye.
Director Lineback?
Aye.
Secretary Sloan?
Aye.
Vice Chair Danzel?
Aye.
And Chair Yearwood?
Aye.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. All right, so we will move on to regular calendar, item G, regular calendar.
Thank you, Chair Yearwood. We've had a request to move the item up, item G3, to move that up on the agenda, so we would like to accommodate that request. And also, I just wanted to note to the audience that if there was anyone who would like to speak on item G3, that there are these blue cards. If you'd like to bring them up to me, then you can speak after the staff presentation. So item G3 is to accept the donation of a memorial bench with plaque in White Rock Community Park, and I'll turn it over to Planner Christina James.
Good evening, Chair Yearwood and members of the board. Tonight, we are bringing a memorial bench project to you for approval to honor the life of Calvin James Augusta. His mother and several friends are in the audience tonight to support this project. The proposed memorial bench will provide a place for passive recreation and rest for the public. The selected bench and text have been reviewed and approved by district staff, and we believe it to be an appropriate and necessary furnishing for the proposed location at White Rock Community Park. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm not sure if you prefer who goes first, but if, Mr. Mayor, would you like to go first?
Ladies first.
Okay. I'd like to welcome to the podium, is it Sheree? Sheree.
Good evening, Park and Rec District of Rancho Cordova. We of Rancho Cordova humbly request that you grant our park bench request for my son, Calvin James Augusta. He passed away by means of suicide August 4 days before his 18th birthday. He was a pillar to his community. He was a pillar to his friends. He was a pillar to his school. He's an alum of Cordova High, a two-sport athlete. He did everything for everybody, and he was everything for everybody. So when he passed away, I had him cremated, and I didn't think how it would affect the community not to have a place to sit and talk to him or sit and be with him. This bench is more than just a bench. It's a bench for the community, and it's a bench to bring awareness to suicide prevention. Suicide is prevalent in the young people now. It's getting to a point where there's a suicide every week or so. Before I got here on Monday, I got 2 calls. One was an attempt and one was a suicide. We do what we can to speak to the community, to bring mental health awareness to the community, to make sure that they have a place to talk to, a person to talk to make sure they have the suicide prevention hotline and everything that we can do. But this bench will speak volume and do way more than what we can do. Thank you.
Next, I'd like to call Conrad Mayer, please.
Nope.
Good afternoon, Board. I am here to support the request made by Calvin's mother, but I'm also here to also support all the great things that she said about her son. And a little unorthodox, but I would like to try to invite some of the young men who are at the way back of the wall, because those are the ones that loved Calvin the most, but they're not accustomed to speaking in front of boards like you guys might bite them or something. So I would like to have them come forward and maybe just, say who they are and maybe a 10-second blurb on what Calvin meant to them, if that's appropriate.
I'm fine with it.
Okay. Gentlemen. Please come.
We don't bite.
They don't bite.
We don't.
And while they're coming up here, I would say that they're going to be one of your probably one of your biggest assets. They have a lot of pride in them, and I guarantee you that bench will probably be sparkling clean. There'll be no trash around it. There won't be any riffraffs because they won't allow it. That's how much Calvin meant to him.
My name is Devin Shaw. Calvin, he meant a lot to me as a brother, more than anything else. Anything I've been through, I go to him. Like, if I need help with sports, I go to him. He was the best at football and basketball. And if this bench, I would love for this bench to be approved because that would give me a chance to go still talk to him and when I'm going through stuff. And yeah.
Hello. My name is Robert. I don't know, I'm kind of nervous. But yeah, just like my brother Devin was saying, I don't know, like I would go, yeah, like let me think about the memories I had with Calvin. Me and Calvin went through a lot. Like you guys wouldn't even believe it. Like me and Calvin grew up since we were young, like elementary school. And just to be able to go back and talk to him and know that he's listening to me, you know what I mean? And just cope with him and be able to express my feelings to Calvin because I can't do that with much people. I go through a lot, for sure. And Calvin will help me. He always has. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Anthony Diaz, and with Robert and Devin said that he is like a brother to me, and I just would hope if you guys would approve this bench, and so I could go there, and because I stay in Rancho Cordova, and it would just be a great time to just go sit there and talk and all that. Thank
you. My name is Raymond Fight, and Calvin meant a lot to everybody. Like, for Calvin, like, with my problems, I always went to him because he was the person that always like listened to me. And like this bench means a lot to everybody, and that just gives a chance for everybody just to speak to him one last time.
Hello, my name is John L. Sanders, and I actually played football and basketball with Calvin. And he was like more than a brother. He was like something I can explain, but I would go to him with anything. Like we and him would just sit in the car and just talk for hours. And just sometimes we hit each other up, like, let's go to the field, let's go to the park. And it would be White Park, and we would go play there. And then I would love for this bench to be approved so everybody could just go there and just talk to them when they're going through things, hoop there, and just, yeah. Thank you.
My name is Dakota, and like all of them said, he was like a brother to us. And he was always like, he was also somebody that we could all go to and talk to about our problems. He was always there for each and every one of us. So then I feel like the bench would be there to like show respect for him. And like his mother said, to show awareness for killing yourself as a young teen. And yeah, that's about it.
Hi, I'm Miguel Villa. As everyone said, like he was a person like you always go to, but even if you didn't go to him first, he would always be the first one to check up on you. Like he was a caring person. Even if you didn't know him, when I first met him, I really didn't know him like that, but he still checked up on me a lot. Like he's just a caring guy, and yeah.
Hi, my name is Keyshawn Allen, and like my brother Miguel and Robert said, we love to have this bench for Calvin because he was someone we always come to when we need to talk about something. He was always there for us. Like my brothers have said, anytime we're going to do something, we'll talk to Calvin about it. I would love to have this bench approved because Rock Park is kind of where we all hooped, kind of where we all played basketball, kind of where we all hung out. And it's where he hung out. It's where he first was playing basketball at before, we all started going to Mather Gym. But I would love that's bench approved so we could all speak to Calvin some more and tell him what's going on right now, why he away, and why we're still here, living our life through him and make sure we're still doing all right. So, yeah.
Hi, my name is Bernardo Valdez, and like you guys can see, he brought a lot of people out, and like his mom was saying, she had him cremated. So I wish this bench would have something to just go to every day, talk to him, just be there, and yeah, he was just a good, kind-hearted person that cared for everybody. So I think it would be good to have the bench there, bring awareness to suicide, and yeah.
I'm Tim Pole. Like everybody else said, Calvin was like a brother to us. I'm pretty sure I can vouch for all of us that Calvin would put us before himself. He always makes sure everybody's straight before himself. And so, yeah, I hope y'all approve this bench for him so we can symbolize him and everything.
My name is Andrew Diaz, and I just like to have this bench approved because, like all of them said, he was a good role model and somebody we looked up to, and there's not many people you look up to around here. And yeah, that's all I really got to say.
Hello, my name is Jamie Hood. I would like to have this bench approved because Calvin was he was something special. He always brought that good vibe, that good energy that nobody else has ever had. And this bench would mean something special to us. The first time I ever seen Calvin was at White Rock Park, actually, playing basketball. And first time playing basketball with him was there. So, yeah.
My name is Luis, and I didn't know Calvin like that, but a lot of these dudes right there, they're my close friends, and I know what it's like to lose someone. And yeah, it would be good if this bench was there for him.
Board, I thank you for that unusual request. These gentlemen, as you can see, were deeply moved by Calvin's, just his being. And just to let you know, This wasn't some donation of money to provide for this bench. These guys all worked, raised, they're a part of that bench. All the material in those benches, they've worked to fund. So this will be something that I believe will be taken care of for a long time. So with that, I would like to thank you and apologize to some of the ladies, not that I meant for it to be just guys up here. But they were the ones at the back, though. All right, thank you.
Can I call to the podium Donna Brown, please?
Hi, my name's Donna Brown. And I just really want everyone to know that no one just came up with this money. The community got this money together for him. And we're still healing, so I apologize. When they said Calvin had a good heart, he has a good heart. I can remember one time, he wasn't driving yet. He was in 9th grade, and he offered my son a ride home. And I don't know if you remember, I called you. He got kind of mad because he was going to ride with the cool guy. But I told him he had to ride with who we went. But they met when Kenneth was about 7. We've been friends for a really, really long time. There's just nothing I couldn't ask Calvin that he wouldn't try and help. And to lose another one of our children to suicide, let them have somewhere to sit. Let us have somewhere to sit to heal. This is going to take a long time. So I ask that you please let this happen. This is a park where we all live. This is our park. We live right by it. Our kids played on it when it was the metal park, and you updid it. I'm sorry. And it's even better. I'm tired of people talking bad about Rancho. There's good people here. And I want the love to be shown for him. So with our community raising the money, no one giving it to us, and our community coming tonight, telling you how much this child meant to us, letting you know we don't want this to happen again. We want them to be able to go somewhere and just talk it out, sit. And if nothing at all, when someone else is at the park, they'll have another place to sit. It can't hurt the park. And that's all. Thank you.
I'd like to call to the podium Constance Goins and Janice McCrae, please.
Hello, thank you for listening to us all. I am Calvin's aunt. I came to Rancho Cordova in 1965, long time ago when White Rock Park was beautiful, when the neighborhood was gorgeous. Times changed, things happened, but I'm saying all that because right now the need for Calvin's bench to be there is great. I'm a mental health social worker. I work for Sutter Hospital, Sutter Psych. There are many kids that come through there. One of the biggest risks for suicide in teens is the death of a loved one, of a friend. So that bench is not just a bench. It's a place for kids to talk to him so that they can know that it's okay to express your feelings and your thoughts. And everyone has sadness, everyone has depression, everyone experiences loss. But the loss of a friend that you're so close to, who meant so much to his friends and family, is devastating to them. That bench would mean so much, not only to my family who live in that neighborhood, who I grew up in that neighborhood, in that park, but to all the many friends who have expressed themselves tonight, and there's thousands more who love him and who need to have his presence felt in that neighborhood. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Janice McCrae, and Calvin has been there for me since day one, and I say that you guys should approve this bench because it will give some of us closure that haven't fully healed yet, and just a safe haven for us to go sit down and be able to speak our minds without being judged, you know? And yeah. Thank you.
Any comments from the board?
I think you gonna?
Go ahead,
Go ahead.
Director.
You can go first.
You had me at hello. I spent many a time on the sidelines photographing Calvin. You better go.
Well, it's really sad that a young man chose to take his life. And to see all the people that he's affected in their lives in a very good way. I think it's wonderful that you have all gotten together and found a way where we can have an opportunity not only to honor him, but to honor you all. So I hope that when we get this approved, that you will use that bench and that it will always have someone on it.
Sorry about that. But I do know I'm totally for this request. And I know that I'm really thankful for all you being here and all what Conrad does for all the youth. He's a real mentor, and I'm sure he's a big part of this campaign here. Calvin was a very gifted athlete, and I didn't really know him as a friend, but I did talk to him a lot of times on the sidelines. And he came up to me and said, "Hey, Mr. Sloan, I think you can give me some of those photographs." And I'd send him photographs all the time of him playing basketball and playing football. And I'll always remember him. I have the photographs to remind me. And now with this bench, I think it's a great symbol of how the community can come together and how we can really think and talk and share our thoughts with one another and be out there. And I'd like to have some type of a celebration out there if we could, if you guys can organize it. I'll definitely be there.
Vice Chair?
I knew Calvin. I was a campus monitor at Cordova. At least half of you in this room know me. It's different seeing me up here, isn't it, from seeing me on the campus. But watching every one of you grow, it has definitely been there. And but what every one of you said about that young man, it was very true. Because if I had a problem with any one of you, he was the first person I was going to. Because I knew every one of you would listen to him before you'd listen to me. So, I'm all for this without a problem.
I'm sorry I never met him. I wish our paths had crossed. I look at this, like you said, I'm sure it was a small sampling of the people he knew and the people that trusted him and he, helped. So again, I don't think there's any disagreement on how this will end up. So in fact, if we're ready.
We're ready for a motion.
Ready for a motion.
So the motion is I move that we accept the donation of a memorial park bench with a plaque in White Rock Community Park for a very special young man named Calvin James Augusta.
Motion by Director Reyes, second.
I'll second that.
Second by Secretary Sloan. Roll call vote.
Director Reyes?
Aye.
Director Lineback?
Aye.
Secretary Sloan?
Aye.
Vice Chair Danzel?
Aye.
And Chair Yearwood?
Aye.
Chair Yearwood, I would like to thank you all for sharing a little story about this very special young man that was raised in Rancho Cordova.
Thank you. Yeah, do you have a, Mom, do you have a quick moment where we can take a picture with his picture and all that? All right. All right, everybody's gonna have to get close.
Everyone.
Come on in. You get to lay in front.
Lay down in front.
In front? Move up a little bit.
Yeah.
No, stay with Rosa. Come on, Rosie.
Just the lighting is bad back there, so you come up, yeah, come up to about right around the face. Yeah. Come up to about here. You can come right in front of there, that's totally good. Yeah, come on, you can come in front of here. if You want? I'm good. Conrad, if you're not, if you're taking the picture, you'll be in the picture. She has the camera.
That was his plan, he didn't want to be in the picture, I suspect.
Come on up. You're in this.
Don't
Thank
get
you.
yourself in the back.
Thank you.
Oh, hold on, I guess if you.
I was just gonna give it to. Really good. Keep your leg in.
Tim, see what you're talking about.
This is all interesting.
I really didn't. I looked over at Laura Taylor too, and we started to cry. She was like over there bawling. I'm like, yeah, look at Laura.
I'll look out for it.
There was never
Yep. That is really I always, whenever someone says that so-and-so died committed suicide, I was tripped.
All right, so I guess we'll move on to item G1.
Thank you. Item G1 is to authorize the general manager to execute a construction services agreement with TJR Resources Incorporated in the amount of $212,507.43 for the Rosemont Community Park improvements. And I'll turn it back over to Planner James.
Good evening, Chair Yearwood and members of the board. In March 2019, the board authorized the general manager to release a notice inviting bids for the Rosemont Community Park Improvements Project. A mandatory pre-bid meeting was held and 8 contractors were in attendance. A bid opening was held on May 30th and 3 bids were received. TJR Resources was determined to be the lowest responsible bidder. The bid includes the following improvements to Rosemont Community Park: the replacement of existing asphalt pathways with new concrete, an add alternate number 1 to renovate the farm field, including new backstop, infield mix, benches, and irrigation modifications, and a second add alternate to include 2 new accessible picnic tables and a pad to replace the existing aging tables. The project is being funded both through Measure J and a grant contract through the Sacramento Housing and Redevelopment Authority in the amount of $202,780. A project cost of $230,000 was approved in the fiscal year 2018-2019 budget. I'm happy to answer any questions the board might have about this project.
Anyone have any questions? No? Anybody care to make a motion?
I move the Board of Directors authorize the general manager to execute a construction services agreement with TJR Resources, Inc. in the amount of $212,507.43 for the Rosemont Community Park improvements.
Motion by Director Leinbach,
Second.
seconded by Vice Chair Danzel. Roll call vote.
Director Reyes?
Aye.
Director Lineback?
Aye.
Secretary Sloan?
Aye.
Vice Chair Danzel?
Aye.
And Chair Yearwood.
Aye. All right, item G2.
Thank you. Item G2 is to adopt Resolution 18/19-49, authorizing the general manager to submit a grant application to the Sacramento Housing and Redevelopment Authority for design services for the Rosemont Community Park tennis court renovation and sign any associated grant documents and design contract. And I'll turn it back over to Planner James.
Good evening, members of the board. In 2019, the district received a grant from the Sacramento Housing and Redevelopment Authority for improvements to Rosemont Community Park. This year, SHRA, through the CDBG program, has $100,000 available to eligible organizations within the unincorporated county. Rosemont Community Park falls within the eligible disadvantaged community boundaries, and the district is requesting design funding for improvements to the tennis court, including renovating the 2 tennis courts, converting one of them to pickleball and one of the courts to basketball, and constructing a fence in between the amenities. On June 6th, district staff attended an RCA meeting where we brought the proposed project before the community. The RCA board was in support of that renovation project. And so we were able to get their feedback that they would be interested in the district submitting a grant, a design grant first, and hopefully a construction grant if that design grant is successful. I'm happy to answer any questions the board might have.
Any questions?
I don't have any questions, but I was present at the RCA meeting when the staff made that presentation. It was very well received. I think the community is really grateful that you're seeking these grants to make the improvements to Rosemont Park, and it was, I don't know how else to phrase it, but it was extremely well received. They were very pleased. Yeah, I'm hoping they did write that letter of support for the grant too, because they were in favor of it.
We haven't received the letter yet. It wasn't a requirement of the grant application, but still continue to be in touch with the RCA board as we go through this process.
Is it too late?
No, it's, we definitely want to get it, so it's something we can keep on file and make sure that we put it as part of the sort of the history of the park, that the residents
Right.
wanted
Yeah.
this. So we'll stay in touch with them and eventually get it.
All right. Any other questions, comments? All right. Anybody care to make a motion?
Are you going to,
I'll make a
Mr.
motion.
Sloan?
I had to find out which one it was.
113.
This is G2, right? Was that one? I move the Board of Directors adopt Resolution 18/19-49, authorizing the general manager to submit a grant application to the Sacramento Housing and Redevelopment Authority, SHRA, for design services for the Rosemont Community Park Tennis Court / pickleball renovation and sign any associated grant contract documents and design contract.
Motion by Secretary Sloan. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Director Reyes. Roll call vote.
Director Reyes?
Aye.
Director Lineback?
Aye.
Secretary Sloan?
Aye.
Vice Chair Danzel?
Aye.
And Chair Yearwood?
Aye. All right, we will move on to item G4.
Thank you, Chair Yearwood. Item G4 is to adopt Resolution 18/19-50, declaring July 2019 as Parks Make Life Better Month. And I'd like to welcome to the podium Marketing and Communications Specialist Katie Nagy-Chow.
Good evening, Board of Directors and Chair Yearwood. So for the month of July, we would like to recognize California Parks and Recreation Society's theme of Parks Make Life Better Month. We're going to be doing a few pop-up events at the food truck events the CCC holds I know our recreation staff is already ready to go, and just make the awareness of what our service brings to the community. We'll also be doing some themes with our social media posts, making sure that we're recognizing how our services provide that environment for leisure, recreation, and just spaces to enjoy nature as well. So that is the theme, and we're really looking forward to pushing it forward.
All right. Anybody
Way
have
to
any
go.
comments or questions or? All right. Anybody care to make a motion?
Oops.
I move the Board of Directors adopt Resolution 18/19-50, declaring July 2019 as Parks Make Life Better Month.
Motion by Vice Chair Danzel.
Second.
Second by Director Lineback. Roll call vote.
Director Reyes?
Aye.
Director Lineback?
Aye.
Secretary Sloan?
Aye.
Vice Chair Danzel?
Aye.
And Chair Yearwood?
Aye.
Thank you.
Have fun with it.
Yeah. All right, so looks like we are moving on to item H, Board of Directors items, H1.
Thank you. Item H1, Board Member Reports. H1A is regarding the CRPD Annual Conference, which was held May 22nd to 25th. And that is Vice Chair Danzel, Secretary Sloan, and Chair Yearwood reporting out.
All right, Secretary Sloan, would you care to go?
You go first?
Yeah,
Well, if I go first, then you guys won't have anything to talk about.
Perfect.
hey. Chairship has
All
its
right.
privileges.
Well, for the people that are here, it's one of my favorite conferences in the world. It's actually it's all board of directors and administrators, district administrators, general managers. They just all come together like a family, and we have this thing called the round table discussions where we break up into different areas, and everyone gets to share their issues with their park or their the district. And what's so helpful is that when you have new people come aboard, this is such valuable information because you've got literally ages and ages of experience all around you, and this is your first year or second year, as a general manager, and then and you're able to tap the authority right at the I don't know what you call it, right there. But it's when we all get together and do that, it's always very memorable. The breakout sessions were very powerful. It talked about the Paradise Fire and the Conejo fires, how we lost two park districts virtually, and how you dealt with disaster. And we had a whole, I don't know, 2-hour panel discussion, all about that, and it was very emotionally uplifting, and I think that, even brought tears to people's eyes, the way it just was so nice, the way the community bounded and came, and just how they dealt with it, and all the stuff that came from other districts, donations. It really made our California into just one little area focus, and it was really nice. The breakout sessions, I'll let these guys talk more about that, because I'm actually, when I go to these things, I spend a lot of time going back and forth, taking photographs and stuff. So I get to see a lot of the presentations, but I don't get to see the whole presentations. But I'll let you guys go on.
Vice Chair Danzel.
Thank you, Chair Yearwood. For me, this was my 8th conference this year. Good things happened for me, for our district at this, as we'll find out later tonight. But, like Secretary Sloan talked about, the breakout sessions, always something new that comes out of them, whether it's talking about at-large and districting, whether it's talking about social media, whether it's talking about, there's always something to be learned at this conference, and there is that wealth of knowledge there. You've got people that have been in park districts for years. That just because they've seen it all doesn't mean that they've done the right thing over the time, and they're always willing to learn and try and change and make their parks better, along with helping the rest of us make our parks better. I kept it short and sweet for you.
Oh, thank you. Yes, well, I was first timer. Apparently, you get a little badge when you're a first timer. But so it was very interesting. The discussion about Paradise and down south was quite amazing. I believe the guy from Paradise, was it an acre a minute was burning or something like that at some point? From start that one day, almost the entire city was destroyed, and Cornejo, was that the one down south? Their fire, they'd had the shooting. Was that down there, and the night before, and they just the coordination to utilize a lot of their facilities and stuff like that for Red Cross shelters and things like that was kind of amazing. So they really stepped it up and did some things they weren't used to doing, because the Red Cross was stretched very thin, and they ended up having to open centers, not really with the knowledge and maybe the supplies they needed, but they did it and got through it. So it was a very interesting discussion they had about that. So, and some of the breakouts, social media one was very enlightening, and the one about the by-district potential for California, almost everyone having to go to by-districts to ensure they're not violating any voter right acts and things like that, was very interesting as well, very enlightening. So all in all, it was a great experience, and look forward to going to it again. I don't know about next year, but I'll go to it again sometime. So we'll see. We'll see how it all works out. So that is all on that one. I guess we'll go to item H1B.
That one is the board member community activities and meetings report.
All right. Can we start with you, Director Reyes?
Sure. I attended the all-staff spring barbecue employee recognition celebration. Tri-tip was good. Food was good. Staff was good. Beautiful day. It was just Perfect. I enjoyed the staff morale. Everyone was excited, and I did express to them how much we were thrilled with all their hard work, that as directors, we're not quite as concerned with putting on our badges and stepping out there in the public, because people seek us out now. One of the things I wanted to say was I enjoyed the pickle, what you call it, the kudos or the pickles that were all given away because each other had noticed that someone did something special and out of the way. And that was really nice and enjoyable. And it was nice to see how staff lightened up to figure out, oh, someone caught me doing something special. And I think that was really nice. I think this pickle whole awarding it really worked well. Now, I do want to report to my board that apparently, so pickles were given out, and there's this grand pickle, nice big pickle, and it goes from one department, which was the finance department. So can you imagine Matt Goodell giving away his pickle?
Can I ask a question?
The
I know I'm
pickle?
not supposed to, but is it called the Big Dill? Sorry.
Whatever it is. But
That's-
he had to give away the big deal. And so it was hard. But I wanted to share with you, congratulations to the department it moved on to, which is our communications, marketing communications department. And that that was Miss Katie Nagy Chow, Department of One. Patrick, you are red. You and your pickles here. Anyway, so I did enjoy that. I'm thrilled I made that one. And the food was good. Everything was good. That's it.
All right, Director Leinbach.
Yes, I would first of all like to notify the district that I will not be attending the July board meeting because I'm going to be on vacation. I did attend the Rosemont Community Association meeting, and as I mentioned, they were, the RCA was appreciative of the presentation and of the concept of doing something with those tennis courts too. I did have to let them know that the Primrose Playground has been pushed back another year, and it's been almost 2 years since they requested it, and it's going to be another 2 years before they get it, so that was not good news to deliver. And I also attended the Leadership Rancho Cordova graduation, where our illustrious general manager was the speaker for the group. It was a very nice event. They came up with a wonderful project for that class, which is to name streets in the city after only after you're dead.
No, it's not the policy, not anymore.
For, hometown heroes, first responders, veterans, firefighters, police officers. So it was a really, really great idea, and it was a very lovely event. And congratulations, Patrick.
All right, Secretary Sloan.
Okay. On May 28th, I attended the BRECA steering committee meeting, and there was a couple park issues. One being that thanks to us and the Library Association or somebody, we're going to get one of those free little libraries in the park there. I think Rosemont's got a couple of them. I have one. Yeah, you have one at your house?
My yard?
Yes, she does. In front yard? Oh, well, okay. I think they're in the stages of designing a paint scheme, but that's going to be an interesting. I think the park district's going to place it. We picked 3 spots. I think they voted on one of them. And one of the sad. Oh, you know what? You got to go there and check those walkways, because the walkway, I took some photographs as the sun was setting. People are walking on, late, like, it's so nice, and people are just commenting how wonderful the walkways are. And as we do that to other parks, you're gonna see that so many thankful people. They're completely done, and now what's left to be done is, they damaged our basketball court. The trucks that were delivering or pulling out concrete were so heavy, and the courts were designed so many years ago that the infill was, it's not not up to par now, which it will be, I hope. But they're going, because I heard the truck just sank down into it and cracked it up, and so I went out there and I just saw it. I didn't know if they put asphalt in or cement in.
It's fixed at this point.
It is?
July 4th is the completion date.
Yeah. I saw that. I've been taking pictures as they've been going on, but that'll be nice. I have to tell you, the tennis courts look horrible. And I know that our new guy is gonna go out and make these evaluations, but that's gotta be next on the agenda, is to look at the tennis courts, because I'm so excited. I also went to the Rosemont Association meeting, because my wife was there. She works for Supervisor Natoli as his chief of staff. So I wanted to hear her in action. But I was really pleased with the presentation. The fact that we are gonna get pickleball right there, hopefully. I mean, I don't know if they can do 4 of them, but at least maybe 3 of them or 2 of them, but proposal is right now to have 4 pickleball courts, a basketball court, and 2 tennis courts. And they're deciding, I think they're gonna eventually have it all lit. But that's really fantastic. And I was really so excited that I was Googling pickleball, and I found out all about the history, where it started up in Bainbridge Island in Washington. And how there's some senator up there became so enthused by it that he started having, fundraisers at this house where this pickleball court was. And it got spread to Spokane and then California, and it's all history now. It's how many people are playing this sport. So I thank the Park District for that proposal. That's it.
All right, Vice Chair Danzel.
I do have one thing on here. It's Leadership Rancho Cordova graduation, and Patrick, I do want to congratulate you. Unfortunately, that night I ended up staying at work till like 8:30 doing computer stuff. I'd tried to get out of there earlier that day, and IT people, they just work on their schedule and not on mine, unfortunately. So congratulations on that. Other than that, I don't have anything.
All right, and I have no additional items to report out on. So going there, we will move on to H2.
Thank you, Chair Yearwood. Item H2A is to appoint members to 2 seats on the Park Maintenance Recreation Improvement District Citizens Oversight Committee. So as you know, we have 2 seats open, Rancho Cordova, Zone A, and Gold River, Zone C. And the open application period was advertised pretty widely in the grapevine and social media and other areas. And the nominating standing committee met on May 13th to review the applications. Originally, we received 2 for Zone A, and then we received a last-minute application, which the committee accepted to review. And then we received 2 applications for the Zone C seat, including the incumbent. I listed there for you the current appointment schedule, which, as you know, are alternating years between board elections. And there is no fiscal impact to this action. So I'll turn it over to the nominating committee now to discuss their recommendations. Thank you.
Shall I go first? All right, I'll go first. Changing it up. Look at that. Yeah, we met, and as we said last month's meeting, it was kind of nice to have people interested in joining this board where you weren't just looking at maybe one application too. We had quite a few to look at. I will just say that they all looked pretty good. I think everybody did a good job. For the Zone A, that's the Rancho Cordova one. I think Don Childs would be a good candidate for that. He's very much involved in the community. He's lived here a long time. I know he is kind of one of the overseers of Fedderspill. And he's an avid, he's always out on the American River Bike Trail. I know that's not part of us, but he's in Hagen quite a bit and always letting us know if something doesn't seem like it's going on right, or there's something we should address or look at. So in that regard, I think he would make an excellent choice. And for Doug, kind of our mindset was he's there, he's been there, he kind of knows what's going on, keep it moving, so to speak. So that was kind of my thought process on that. How about you, Vice Chair Danzel?
I have to echo what Chair Yearwood said. It was nice, definitely having people to pick from. It means we're doing something right because people want to be involved. You know, we see that with our elections. We see that with PMRID. When we're doing things right, people want to be involved and they want to be part of good things. But you know, Doug Rothschild, that's for me. I have to agree. He's there. We need to keep some of that institutional knowledge that has been there. And then Donald Childs, looking at the applicants, I just personally felt he was the best one for it. He's been involved in the community for a long time, and he seems to truly care about this community and the park. So that was why I think we came to those conclusions.
Wonderful.
All right. So do any of you have questions of our decision, our recommendations?
So your recommendations are, that they sound good. It's nice to know that, Doug chooses to stay on. You know, when a board member chooses to stay on that advisory team, then, you know, they feel that it is worth their while. So I think, so wonderful. So you need a requested motion? So did you want to?
Reach. If you don't mind, can I do the first one?
Yeah, you should do
Okay.
each of you, maybe one
right.
each, and we'll just, yes.
Are you ready? Are we ready to do motions? I don't want to.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'll move the Board of Directors appoint Donald Childs to the PMRID Oversight Committee, Rancho Cordova Zone A, for an uncompensated term expiring June 30th, 2023.
Second?
All right. Motion by Chair Yearwood, seconded by Director Reyes. Roll call vote.
Director Reyes?
Aye.
Director Lineback?
Aye.
Secretary Sloan?
Aye.
Vice Chair Danzel?
Aye.
And Chair Yearwood?
Aye. All right. Item B, would you?
Chair Yearwood, I move the Board of Directors reappoint Doug Rothschild to the PMI Oversight Committee, Gold River Zone C, for an uncompensated term expiring June 30th, 2023.
All right. Motion by Vice Chair Danzel, seconded by Chair Yearwood. Roll call vote.
Director Reyes?
Aye.
Director Lineback?
Aye.
Secretary Sloan? Aye. Vice Chair Danzel?
Aye.
And Chair Yearwood?
Aye. Sorry if I stole anybody's thunder there.
I think that's a good.
All right, so we will now move on to item B, H2B.
Thank you. Item H2B is to adopt Resolution 18/19-51, ratifying the election of Director Brian Danzel to the California Association of Recreation and Park Districts Board of Directors and endorsing his service on the board. So back in April, we did receive the call for nominations for these seats. They're director-at-large seats. And I spoke with Mr. Duarte at the association, and it was recommended that we need not put a nomination forward at this time because Secretary Sloan would be moving into the president's seat, and so we had that representation already on the board. And then at the May 23rd general membership meeting at the conference, Director Danzel was nominated from the floor as a write-in candidate and was elected. So the Board of Directors of CRPD requires our agency to provide within 60 days a resolution supporting that action. So that is what we are bringing to you this evening. Thank you.
All right. Any
Congratulations.
questions?
Thank you for standing up and representing us there. And if there's a need to recommend the action, I would like to recommend that the Board of Directors provide the resolution for endorsing our very own Director Brian Danzel service within, endorsing his service to serve as member at large. The resolution number is 18/19-51.
Motion by Director Reyes,
I'll second that.
seconded by Secretary Sloan. Roll call vote.
Director Reyes?
Aye.
Director Lineback?
Aye.
Secretary Sloan? Vice Chair Danzel?
Aye.
And Chair Yearwood.
Aye.
Okay, so now that we've got both of you there.
All right. So I guess we'll move on to comments by staff, non-agenda items. Item I1.
We'll turn it over to General Manager Larkin.
Thank you. Okay. First, I want to start off by thanking the staff. This has been a tremendous upheaval of work this past month, and I appreciate all of you for all of your efforts in getting the preliminary budget to all these projects, the golf course. I could not ask for a better staff to work with, so thank you before I begin. So with that, we had the opportunity to volunteer at the Stage 2 Amgen tour in front of City Hall, which was a very exciting opportunity for our community to host that this year. So we were a part of helping with parking and kind of hosting some of the customer service. So good opportunity to work well with the city. We also hosted a Friends of Cordova social to recruit new members for the foundation. And so we held that orientation to kind of give a feel for what kind of projects and mission and vision and goals that we're looking for members. We were able to, at this time, land 6 applications with pending 2 applications that are supposed to come in. Those applications will be coming forward to the board for appointment in July. So that's pretty
Wonderful.
exciting.
Yeah.
Yes. We met with the Sacramento County and the BIA to discuss CRPD park impact fees. We are closer and closer to get that agreement in place. The plan is at this point we have one further meeting with the executive of the BIA to get some questions answered related to that last meeting. From there, we're hoping that an agreement will be made and we can move forward to having some amendments made with Goodwin and Associates, as well as it going to the board, and then after that, going to the Board of Supervisors for final approval. So look forward to that hopefully within the next couple of months, and we can get that body of work put to bed after 7 years. So a big lift with that one. So graduated from Rancho Cordova Leadership. It was a fantastic program. The Chamber of Commerce does an amazing job with that program. And we did a great project. Terry had mentioned the project earlier. And it was a real honor to be a part of that and representing our agency. I think we really did quite the good projects as a collaborative team, but also when these guys did their module for that program, we definitely shined as a award-winning agency. So it's a proud moment for me to be there for that. We also have been in talks with several times about our minutes from the past, as well as creating some efficiencies going forward. So we're looking to move forward with regular, special, and committee archived meeting minutes as action-only minutes. Some of the reasons why is that we have our meetings videotaped, audio taped. In addition to that, we have the written minutes. So the recommendation is that we're moving forward with action-only minutes going forward, and we're hoping to see that reflected in the July 17th, 2019 packet.
I would like to interject at this point. I do not agree with this decision, and the reasons I don't agree with this decision is because I believe that action-only minutes do not do a good job telling the community what occurred at a meeting, and that referring people to video and audio tapes is asking them to listen to 2- and 3-hour meetings in order to figure out what happened at a meeting. And also that this has been discussed by the board in the past, and it was the consensus of the board in the past that action-only meetings do not give enough information to the public if they wish to have a sense of how a particular item was handled at a board meeting. So I understand that you've made this decision without consulting the board, and I'm not particularly appreciative of that. I would have preferred that since the board went, in the past, had a consensus that action-only minutes weren't appropriate, that your reasons for changing to action-only minutes should have been presented to the board for their consideration. That's my comment.
Duly noted.
I'm going to piggyback on that. I do agree also with Terry's thoughts there. I just think that a lot that's been going on has been surprises to the board, and that's sort of been bothering me, where things are just told this is the direction we're going in, and rather than being part of the decision of going in that direction, we just have to sit and live with it. I guess that's sort of what I feel like, you know. It just feel like it's just like, to me, it's sort of breaking a connection that we had. I thought was strong as working as a board and administrative staff together, and now it seems like things are being decided, well, we don't need the board's decision, and so we're just going to go ahead with it. That's my thoughts. That's my feeling. So make that noted too.
Oh, well, since we're making notes, I think though I understand written minutes provide detail to people who, I think in honesty, we need to get in this century. We have the ability to tell people if there's a certain item they want to look at, where they can look at it, listen to it on the recording. They don't have to listen to the whole thing. I think I'm perfectly okay with this. I don't have a concern with it. From my understanding, when people call about a specific item, we kind of help them find it on there, so that they're not forced to listen to hours of meetings. So I would also say that we have a staff that we rely on quite a bit, and they do a fantastic job. And I think sometimes we get into the weeds too much, and we need to let them run this district. That's what we pay them a lot of good money to do. And we need to me, I'm totally okay with this. I mean, that's me, so.
I have to comment on that, because minutes are what happened at a board meeting. That is not getting into the weeds of what the staff does.
Well, minutes that are transcribed from a recording can have inaccuracies in them. So when somebody listens to the actual recording, they're getting what's actually said. So to me, that is the better historical record for somebody, to be honest, than somebody sitting there listening to it and then, okay, I think he said this, and then transcribing that. I mean, I have to laugh. I was reading an article online the other day about something that was quoted by somebody, and it was transcribed wrong. The word didn't make any sense. And then I saw it online. I saw the actual, it was a hearing in Congress. And then what he actually said was there, and I'm like, oh, that makes more sense. But whoever transcribed it put the wrong word in there, and it made absolutely no sense. And so to me, I'm sorry, the video, audio recordings are the most accurate way for people to get the information about what was said at a meeting. I understand people have that need for that tactile thing to be able to see those minutes, but that's kind of the old way of doing it, so to speak. So that's my personal opinion.
Well, let's find out about whether it's the old way. Is that way? Are all the districts heading towards the new way that you're talking about? I don't know. So I'd like to hear some comments about whether other districts are doing it.
Sac County uses action minutes. I mean, if the county that we report to uses them, I don't see why we shouldn't be using them.
I seem to agree. Let's give it a chance. I mean, I know the last time, because really, if you stopped and thought about it, we've got to get to efficiencies. We're trying to get ourselves less paperwork. I have no problems with it. Action items, if staff can, if there are really, how many is the question? How many people really read our minutes? Now, I know I do, and I appreciate this, but I'm willing to try and work with a newer technology, such as the tablet. And I think that the action only, they've been talking about this. I remember, that's why we brought it up, and at that time, we weren't ready. But I think I'm okay with working it in, especially since we do have, there is a cost to it. I mean, we will need another body to do this translating. And if you say, Chair Yearwood and staff, that staff will assist and direct, and I know there are those minute point and how you check out the YouTube or whatever. So I have nothing.
What I would like to add here is that this is the discussion we should have had instead of an item on the general manager's report that the decision had been made. I understand that I am one of 5, and if the decision is made that the minutes are changed, then the minutes are changed, and the subject for me would be closed at that point. But we were not given the opportunity to make that change as a board until I interjected in the general manager's report. And I was particularly unhappy that it was dictated rather than discussed with the board and a decision being made by the board.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Going forward, we have the district will be coordinating with Sacramento County and the city of Rancho Cordova on census information outreach and potentially providing locations and access to events to assist residents with completing the questionnaires. The U.S. Census Bureau has provided flyers, and there's an attachment in your packet, and may address the board at this meeting, actually, and she was here earlier during public comment, so thank you for coming this evening. We in Budget and Finance, they had Matt and Rick attend the GFOA conference in Los Angeles, and they got some great information about finance, public financing, and we're looking forward to seeing how those education classes will translate into policy updates as we move forward through the personnel policies, and then eventually we'll go to the finance policies after that. In Park Planning and Development, we have 75%. It's actually farther than that, than the meetings. We're at 95% for a design of our pool. And so we're ahead of schedule, which is fantastic news. And we are going to just knock on wood that it continues to go in this direction. Thank you, Laura, for staying on top of it. She's been very responsive with LPA's questions and concerns, and we should be ready to go towards the next phase within a couple of months now, which is going to be a fantastic, hopefully timelining out the construction process, so that's great news. Planning and Development also met with representatives to review the design of Labyrinth Park in Douglas 98. And Sparrow Park in Montalena Development. Along with that, I mentioned we talked to the BIA and Sacramento County about the fees, and then I'm going to turn it over to Jill to give us a report on the Parks and Recreation Department.
As always, lots going on in Parks and Recreation, as well as marketing. Couple of highlights. Unfortunately, we are getting a lot of vandalism in our playgrounds. Staff is working very hard. Gary is kind of, wearing a bunch of hats right now in his position. So if you see some, playgrounds that might have some caution tape up, there might be some parts of those playgrounds that we're waiting for parts to come in. It might take a little while. We're working as fast as we can to repair those playgrounds and the vandalism that's happening right now. So
I was going to ask, I know at one time when there was this program like Ice on Parks or something like this, and there were the neighbors formed. I know in Rosemont, that was actually the model of where other how would you call this, neighborhoods wanted to create it. And you know how they have the neighborhood watch and all this. But they had this specific one that at that time was like Eyes on Parks. And what it really was getting the neighbors around the parks to be able to keep their eyes on parks. And it just on awareness and to be able to gather them together and say, hey, maybe this will help us prevent and then connect with the neighborhood watch kind of a effect. Who do we call? How do we give it? But yeah, and there seemed to be a lot of neighbors that wanted to do that.
Good
They just didn't
information.
know, if I saw something, who do I call? And they can't keep calling the police, because then the police doesn't, they don't want them to get upset with them. But really, I think if you did that, that would be something good.
That's great
Eyes
information.
on
Thank
parks.
you.
Didn't
You're
we,
welcome.
didn't we put signs up in some of the Rosemont parks?
Yeah.
I think Primrose has
Yeah.
one.
And Rosemont did that. And then I know in particular, because Rosemont is it's a very active community, their association and all this. And we did. I went literally to see how they did it. I saw they put signs, they put, neighbors were there, and because there were people sitting down later when it got dark, okay? And then they even had the police willing to go, just like we have maybe our own security or whatever, to go around the park that happens to be receiving a lot of activity and just drive right around it, but show the fact that they had their lights on and they didn't have to stop, but that they were making the rounds. But yes, the Rosemont Association community there had it, and I think they still do it. But it was called Eyes on Parks.
Awesome, thank you. Camp Cordova is having an outstanding summer so far, but I wanted to highlight this Summer Teen All-Stars program that Brandy Dion put together. It's the newest addition to the Camp Cordova, and it's basically 15 teens applied and interviewed and have participated in all the training for the Camp Cordova staff, and it's their first volunteer experience this summer. So they're supporting the staff by being there and helping out with the kids. And then we're also providing them with some additional training and leadership opportunities. And Brandy reported to me yesterday that they are knocking it out of the park and that she could not be happier with the results of this program. Again, first year doing it. We're going to invite them to the July board meeting because we want to recognize how wonderful they are and how much we appreciate all their hard work and dedication to this program, on top of obviously the paid staff. But it is nice that we've been able to put this program together and it's been a real success. Obviously, lots of other programs throughout. And then since Nina's here, I also want to give a shout out to the Mather Sports Center group as well. They're trying new things like a women's adult softball league out at Heron Landing Park, and it went this year. Woohoo! Yay! I'm super excited for that. We're going to be moving them to the Mather Sports Complex because they didn't like playing on a field without a fence. However, I'm super excited that we're thinking outside the box and that we're, offering new programs for a variety of different people. And so I'm really proud of that staff and, of course, all of our Parks, Recreation, Marketing, and Communication staff. So it's not even summer yet, and we are just, well on our way to another really busy summer, but a very fruitful summer. And then, of course, I've been out at the golf course taking over the, the transition of the golf course from Jim Marta over to the district. And we actually officially take over those operations on July 1st. So I will be out at the golf course for a few weeks during that transition until we get the new golf course manager in place. So that's my report.
Quick question for you. What do you mean they want outfield fences so they know when they hit a home run or something
Pretty
like
much.
that? Okay.
Yeah,
just wanna
because
make sure.
once it gets past an outfielder, then they have to run, and
Oh,
no one wants
okay.
to
And
do
it just
that.
goes on
Then it's
and
in the
on
park home
and
run.
on.
Yeah. So nobody likes to play on
Then
a
it's in
field
the
with no
wildlife
fence.
preserve and everybody's.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I was just wondering.
You got it.
Yeah. Give them a fence. Yeah.
I want to add, I just really appreciate Jill. She really has taken the reins on this golf course turnaround and has done a phenomenal job with doing this with a lot of integrity. Yes, golf clap. And she's doing it with a lot of integrity and respect for the transition with Jim leaving. And there's a lot. There is definitely a lot for us to be working on, and she's tackling one topic after the other. So thank you, Jill. It's been awesome so far, and I'm just really looking forward to see where we go with it. So thank you for all your efforts with that.
Thank you.
Very good.
Yes, absolutely. All right. So that is all, right? Anybody So I guess we'll move on to item J, informational items.
Just a quick review of the board invite page. General Manager Larkin asked me to review that quickly. It's on page 147 in your packet. We have the June Moonlight Movies hosted by the CCC at the Village Green every Friday at 8:30 p.m. Then we have the free family swim nights at Lincoln Village Community Pool. Friday is June 14th, July 19th, and August 2nd at 5:30. And then, of course, we have the 4th of July celebration on the 3rd and 4th at Hagan Community Park. And we have Party in the Park on Friday, July 19th at Lincoln Village Community Park and Pool at 5:30. And then the Friday night concerts in August at the Village Green at 7 p.m. So those are some fun things coming our way.
That's great.
All right. You use this, right? Who does this part? I can't remember.
Sorry, so item J1 is the articles, public outreach and correspondence. So we have 3 articles there. Hagan Community Park was mentioned several times. We have 1 blog post and 3 letters. And then the calendar for June and July is there as well. And on that note, for the calendar, I actually sent out an email earlier today about scheduling a special meeting next week, hopefully on Monday, the 24th. We have an item that came forward of some urgency that we were not able to add to tonight's agenda. So I was hoping the board was available that evening for a special meeting. We were thinking of 5 o'clock.
6 maybe. You think it? Oh.
I'm sorry?
However long it takes. This Monday?
Could we do it earlier?
We can if the board's available.
And I can swing 4 o'clock.
4 o'clock on Monday?
4 o'clock on Monday?
Hold on, let
That
me
should give us
check.
plenty of time for you to get ready. No, it won't be that long. No.
2 topics, possibly. Possibly 1,
24th.
but possibly 2.
Five's fine, because I have to be somewhere at 6, but it's not like it ends at 6.
I can do 4.
Okay. Well,
4?
we could do 4, just to make sure we don't. Oh, sweet Jesus. Do I hear 4, 4:30? I'm fine with 4, anywhere between 4 to 5. So 4, let's do it at 4.
Okay.
I guess time to gotta change, do something.
We never know if Matt's gonna be doing the presenting, so we gotta get plenty of time.
Yeah.
So, huh? Oh, it's at City Hall, oh.
Okay. That's okay.
4 o'clock on Monday, correct?
4 o'clock on Monday.
Yeah, 4
So-
o'clock Monday.
So say we all.
And special meeting, right?
Special meeting.
I have to put it down. I'm like, okay.
Yes, Monday
All
the
right.
24th.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Whew, all right. So are we at that magical moment? Seeing no further business, I'd like to adjourn this meeting at 8:27 until our next regularly scheduled meeting, which will be
Monday?
on
Oh.
Wednesday. Oh, do I do the special meeting or do the
No, regular meeting.
regular meeting,
Wednesday,
July 17th, 2019 at 6:30 PM? She hasn't actually notified us on that one, so. All right. All right.